This is the interview show, the Uniweb's interview show. Guy Worthey! Welcome to the Uniweb interview show!
Thanks for having me, Mr. Whiteside.
Thank you so much for being on. I'm your host, Matthew Whiteside, joined today by Guy Worthey, author of Ace Carroway.
More music.
I couldn't turn it off. Author of Ace Carroway, currently editing, right?
That's right.
Other Worlds, anthology of short fiction.
And the anthology is out, yeah.
The anthology's out. How's it going, man? How are you today?
I am really well. It's snowing. I'm wet below the knees, but other than that, I'm pretty awesome.
It must be a lot of snow. Where are you located?
This is Eastern Washington, which is normally the dry half of the state, but it's not dry today. It's snowing.
Wow. I'm in Atlanta, and it's like 65. There's actually trees blooming. It's like,
before that sentence, I really liked you.
Now you're like, yeah. I'm sorry. My
Atlanta in my face.
I know. How far away is Washington from Portland? I'm terrible with geography. Are you guys pretty close?
Personally, here where I'm at, I'm in Pullman, which is not close at all. It's about an 8-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It would probably take a while to walk, I suppose.
Probably. It took Lewis and Clark about a month.
Lewis and Clark, going old school on me, huh? Testing my history knowledge. They had Sacagawea, though. She would find a shortcut, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they found shortcut. It's called the river. I think they hopped in the river and floated down.
Yeah, an old hollowed out tree or something.
That's right.
So you're in your office right now. You just finishing up work for the day, or I guess it's 1 o'clock there, right?
It is 1 o'clock here, and I am in my office. Don't tell my bosses. I'm trying to write. I'm independent. It's okay. As long as I keep it below 10%, they say. But yeah, I've been working. I've been writing grant proposals, which are a lot less interesting than fiction.
Grant proposals. Do you work at a college or?
Yeah, this is University of Washington. Or sorry, it's now they really are gonna care, because it's not. It's Washington State University.
You don't even know where you work.
And there's a big rivalry. I don't know what university I'm at. Some university.
It's okay. It's not necessarily all that important, right? You're there is all that matters. I think most of the kids there don't know which university they're at.
I'm sure they don't. They remember their color is crimson.
That's right. So are you a professor or? Yep,
professor. I study galaxies.
I'm just gonna tell you something. I just got really nervous. I've never. Me and teachers have had a checkered past. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of ADD and all over the place. But they didn't necessarily like how much I talked.
Okay. Did you get rulers? It's transparent.
No. Horrible flashbacks.
Horrible flashbacks. I hope I didn't traumatize you.
Oh God. No, it's okay. So, what are you a professor of? I'm taking it not math or science.
Worse.
Literature.
Astrophysics.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, are you serious?
That's what I do. I study galaxy evolution.
Oh my gosh. All right. So now I'm excited again, because that is freaking awesome.
It is cool.
It's really cool.
I like my job.
But there's a lot of math involved in that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of math. Computer programming.
I tell everyone, I said I would be an astrophysicist or like if I was any good at math. It's like the it's just too hard.
It takes getting used to. It takes getting
Well,
used to.
physics too. It's right when you start adding letters and symbols. It's like writing in it's coding. I mean, you're basically coding the universe.
Lots of code, yeah. It's computer code too. So it's equations. It's transferring the equations to the computer, and then using that with data from places like Hubble Space Telescope and ground-based telescopes, and occasionally, you know, radio telescopes and other sorts of things. So yeah, it gets complicated.
So this has been a lifelong passion for you, studying the stars, mapping the.
Yes, because it's also super fun, and you get to learn things.
What's the coolest thing you learned?
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that is a tough one.
I guess most mind blowing. Is that a better way to phrase it? Like something that was like, holy crap, that's real.
Yeah. So there is that thrill of discovery. Yeah. Once in a while, you'll get that thrill of discovery, and it snuck up on me, I guess. But yeah, I figured out that there's two kinds of galaxies. Basically, there's spirals, and they look like pinwheels.
Okay.
And there's ellipticals, and they look like blobs. Featureless. And I figured out that they have different chemical element mixes. How about that?
That make them function differently. Like one functions like the was it the Fibonacci spiral? That's a real thing, right?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
See, I have a brain. You can hear it rattling around in there. And then the other is, but that's weird because for it to be a blob, it's kind of like gravity's not necessarily doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's affecting it differently, right?
Yeah. So those elliptical galaxies are a little bit of a puzzle because they don't rotate. They don't spin.
Yeah.
But every star in them is on an orbit, so they're kind of mixed up. So no star is going to fall into the middle, but they're all on different planes of their orbits. And so they're very interesting that way. And so why that should manifest in the fact that the elliptical galaxies have more magnesium, nobody knows. So we still have...
Magnesium's a heavier metal.
Magnesium is a metal, and so is iron. Yeah. And a lot of other metals like aluminum, for example. Don't spit up. That would be awkward.
Let's just talk about the periodic table for a while. Let's go from 1 to 127. Welcome to the Science Channel. That's awesome. No, it's weird how a certain chemical can change things. Like, I guess it's the same way, right? Like, when I put a certain chemical into my body, it can turn me into
suddenly you go spiral. Yeah,
I can spiral, exactly. Kind of like a galaxy. I don't know. So how do you go from astrophysicist to writing Ace Carroway in 1920s?
Heck if I know. It seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Well, I'm not the most serious of people, so I'm not. I don't have an agenda particularly. So I wanted to write something fun and something kind of like Nancy Drew on adrenaline.
Oh crap!
And that's basically Ace Carroway. She's just kind of a superhero without superpowers.
Okay, so she's just a spaz, and she's like, come on. So she's like super manic.
She has skills.
She's a very talented character as well. So all right? So tell me what the story is about.
Oh well, I mean the basic setup is that Ace Carroway is very very well trained in self-defense and a lot of other areas of intellectual endeavor, and then the Great War breaks out, and so she enlists as a pilot, and that's and she lies. She says she's 18, but she's 16.
Okay.
And she's shortly shot down behind enemy lines, and she has to escape. There you go. That's the setup.
It sounds very interesting. Were women allowed in the military at that time?
No.
So was she pretending to be a man? Was she pretending to be a man as well, or was this?
No, this is where I get to be an author, and I get to reinvent the earth,
Yes.
such that women can be pilots in 1920.
Fiction is a wonderful thing, man.
Yeah. So that's a little not fair. I mean, there were female pilots then, but they were not allowed in the military in World War I at all.
Right. Yeah, I was joking with a friend. It's like it's wonderful to write fiction because there's so much that I don't know. I mean, I could write a book about it, right? So I do. Write a book. And I think that's what we are.
Very well put.
There's so much I don't know I could write a book about.
Write what you don't know. Said nobody else.
That's what all the great writers have told me. But it's interesting that you come from a astrophysics background and you're writing about 1920s. Where does the overlap? So are you just a curious mind that just goes off and after whatever passion you think about, or how did this come about?
It really comes down to what I like to read and what I enjoy reading and for escapism. And this is that type of book. So I'm just writing a book that I would love to read, whatever age I'm at. But of course I read most of your influences come when you're a little younger. So I was reading this type of thing when I was younger. So so here it is. I'm going to introduce new teenagers to the golden years of pulp fiction.
Yeah, I need to check it out because I haven't really read anything in that category my whole life.
That is a shame.
I know. Hey, I swear, like there's so many amazing books out there. It makes me sad that there's not more time in a day, or like, because there's so many amazing stories, and that's why I want to talk to authors too, because you all are the ones that are writing the stories, and to kind of like be able to get inside you guys' head and figure out what your story is as well, because I mean that's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do, like put our collective voice into the ether, into the universe, shout from a mountaintop, right? There
you go.
Yeah.
Shout by having it written down on paper and completely silent.
That's right. If you set it on fire, you can set it on fire and put it in a balloon. And then
yeah, it works for me. Works for me.
There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. So you're editing as well. You're editing the Other Worlds short fiction.
Oh yeah. So we wanted to keep that local. So by the way, writing groups are super important. So if you can at all, get together with the local peeps.
Yeah.
And they're going to be writing, and they're not going to know what's going on either. But collectively, some magic happens. Seriously. So get in a local writing group. So anyway, I had a buddy from my local writing group, and we decided to take regional authors and make a short story collection from that.
Okay.
And it worked. Short story. I mean, long story short, it actually worked. we only had to delay the deadline once. Submit by May 31st turned into submit by August 31st. But other than that, it was really cool.
So, were both your stories, were they published by a publishing company, or did you self-publish them?
Oh, this is self-published. I'm basically the publisher on that.
Okay, cool. So you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, so I only have one story in there. The rest are from writers that submitted short stories. And then the tough part is we had to reject some. And then the ones we kept.
It's hard to reject your friends, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you're not a good writer.
Yeah. So So my buddy Sonia, she said, "Okay, you have gray hairs in your beard. You get to do this." And so I had to say no to the people.
No. That must have been pretty difficult, huh?
Oh, no one complained. Nobody complained.
I'm finding that as writers, we all have pretty thick skin, or at least we're in the development process of developing thick skin.
It never gets quite thick enough, does it? But it absolutely, rejections happen. I mean, if you submit queries, you know that 99% of them are going to get rejected. I mean, even if your stuff is great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's the risk we take, right, of following a passion.
Sure. And the flip side is that number 100 is going to hit pay dirt for you. You're gonna get success in one way or another. So just keep plugging. It'll happen.
Each no is another step to a yes, right? I think Les Brown talks about that a lot.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
And that's another reason to have a local writers club is that you can ask your friends, "Is this any good?" And they'll tell you, "No, that's crap."
You're How did you get plugged in with these people? Was it through work, or was it like a meetup, or?
Yeah, I went to meetup.com and I put in writers and something popped up. And so that wasn't the group I ended up landing in, but that got me in the door. So I met some of the local people that are doing writing, and that was it. Another one is NaNoWriMo. You know that thing?
Yeah, I talked to another writer about that a few days ago.
Yeah. So you can chat with anybody in the country doing writing at NaNoWriMo. So that's a pretty cool thing. Having your work critiqued on a regular basis. So how long has Ace Carroway been out for? Ooh, it's about a year and a half now. The first volume came out, and now I'm up to three. Three are out. So you've written 3 of these stories. They're novellas. They are shorter than novels. That's right. What are they, around like 30,000? They're around 30,000 words. Yeah. So they still bind up and just nicely. And the last one is so thick we could put a title on the spine as well. But nice. That's kind of cool actually. So I think I might keep them longer in the future. But yeah, so it's still following the same story of the arc of the character in the first, or is it? Right. So different episodes. It's just like a TV series or something. So the characters are the same, and the action is different, and some of the long-running plot drivers keep going for quite a while. So I have a main bad guy, and he's not gonna get his comeuppance until like volume 10 or something. I don't know. Okay, I was gonna ask. So you've already got these planned out, or have you plotted the whole series out beforehand? I've plotted it up to about that point, so it's all outlined and ready to go that way. Is that how you do most of your writing, through plotting it out first, or? I tend to plan a little more than I think average, looking at the Twitter comments from other writers. I think I plan a little more than average. We write how we tweet. We just like, whatever, just throw it out there. Somebody pay attention to me, man. I need like that's what I'm doing. Some of that is just brilliant. Some of the drippings that come out are brilliant. The drippings, I like that. That's something. Have you read the book Fearless Writing by William Knoer? Nope. No, I haven't read that. The only reason I bring it up is because it kind of talks about being in a flow state of writing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've heard of flow state, right? Do you ever feel like you get in a flow state when you write, or? Yes, definitely. Yeah, not so often, mind you, but yeah, it absolutely happens. Drafting is a lot of fun. I love to draft a new story. Okay. Editing is terrible. I hate it. And that's where I spend 90% of my time, right? Honestly, like
I'm editing writing, and now I'm having to edit video as well. It's like it's like, what am I doing to myself? Just, but you know, I just talked to another author about she writes, but her favorite thing to do is edit, and she's like, that's where I feel like all the magic is. And there's some, I think there's some merit to that, but I think she's still full of crap. But I still because it's all like, for me, like getting in that flow state, I feel like where you're connected to something different, something outside of yourself. As somebody in the astrophysics world, having outer space, and what do you feel like you connect to when you're writing? You're a man of science.
I'm a man of science.
You feel like you connect to the universe?
I'm certainly not aware of it. Not when I'm writing and plotting.
Okay.
My most memorable flow state, I guess, was the second book. I just was struggling with the second one, and then I switched to the point of view of the detective instead of Ace Carroway or anybody else. And all of a sudden, it just started clicking, and you know, my wife went to bed, and I was still like, you know, just going away.
That's how I write too.
Yeah. that's pretty much that. Let's both do that.
Isn't it weird that we have our keyboards up here when we're typing?
That would be best. That would be best. Yeah. So yeah, but my science doesn't enter in very much, except maybe that I make an outline before I start. I don't know.
Yeah. Other than that, because it's different, right? It doesn't equate to anything. It's like, how the heck did I get into this state? Almost, it's like being possessed.
It certainly doesn't help making a good character or writing dialogue, or it helps a little bit with the technology, because I just think those old cars and airplanes are kind of cool, so I put those in. Yeah. Airships, love airships.
Not like blimps. Is that like the same kind of thing you're talking about?
That is almost it. Blimps don't have any ribbing inside. They're just kind of bags of inflatable bags.
Okay.
And then the other kind is dirigibles, and they have.
I had a bad mother-in-law joke for that one, but I was going to save it.
You haven't held back before. Why hold back now?
I know. I have to have some. I have to have some.
That bad, huh? That bad, huh?
Inflatable bags of air. So there had to be a lot of research then that went into the time period, the vehicles, I mean, obviously the war, all that kind of stuff. Did you do an extensive amount of research before you went into this?
I tend to do research as I write, so as I go along. A lot of the research is on regional accents and words from other countries.
Yeah.
Because I'm a native English speaker, and a lot of the action here takes place in places that are not even remotely America. So there we go. So I have to look up Swedish and German and all kinds of stuff.
So when you're writing dialogue, so you can kind of imagine the voice in your head?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm a very sound-oriented person. So I play bass guitar just as well as you play keyboards. That's really impressive how you did that. So the audio is very important for me, and I do have my characters talking like out loud. And this also bothers my wife, but yeah, they do talk.
As you're writing, you'll be doing the voices?
Yep, I'll be chuckling along. I'll be doing the voices. I'll be doing the dialogue. Yeah. Can
you give us an example?
Well, sure. Why not? So Ace Carroway is American, so she's not as exciting. But then I've got a Brit. He's a He's from East London, so he's a Cockney. He's got he's got a red mustache, red hair. He's almost kind of like you. And,
you mean incredible?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, you're better looking. But anyway,
Thanks.
this guy's a bruiser, and he plays rugby. Do you know anything about rugby?
I know you got to get in a scrum.
Yeah, brilliant. You got to get in the scrum, don't you? And so, and so, yeah, Gooper's got the big vocabulary too. Delivered in the English Cockney, he will.
Gooper.
Gooper is his name. Yeah, Gooper.
Is that okay? So is that a made-up name, or is that something from your research that you found like this was a historically accurate name?
This is made up. Gooper, roughly. So Gooper he's quite the character, isn't he? So he's a biologist. He's a field biologist, even though he loves rugby, right? But he also does biology, which is full of smells and slimy things. And so this is, roughly speaking, the origin of the nickname Gooper.
Wow.
It's a stretch.
How about that, man? Hey, if you're not stretching yourself when you're writing, you're not trying, you know? That's really cool. So yeah, I love doing the accents, and I've read my first novella. I wrote a novella like 5 months ago called Dead Heart, and it's about the son of Sir Lancelot who dies and he gets killed in battle and becomes a zombie, and he's got to go on a quest to prove his worth. And so I read it out on my YouTube channel because nobody else was reading it. So I figured I'd go ahead and do it for them, you know. And if they want to listen to it, but it was fun because I got to do all the different voices. And I know my kids listen to it, and my girlfriend and stuff, and they're just like, well, I love hearing the story in your voice because it's so you. But you had a different experience. Your wife hates it. Right?
She just worries about me. She just wonders if I'm sane.
She's concerned for your sanity. See, my family already knows I'm insane, so they're like,
that's a good hump to get over. Yeah, maybe I'll reach that advanced stage soon.
You'll be there one day. You keep working. You just keep trying. So you say you play the jazz bass.
Yes, I do.
Do you play in a band, or you go out and?
Yeah. I got a little group. We call ourselves the Unusual Suspects.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's
pretty good.
That's a good name. Yeah.
Gotta have a good name. Makes it all. And we don't. We're not super serious, but we like to get together once or twice a month, and we play at a local bar in town. And we, they're good musicians in there. We have a lot of fun together.
That's cool, man. It sounds like you're going like in everything you do. You're really going after that creative spark inside of you, in all aspects of your life.
Well, bless you. Sure. Now that you say it, sure. That's about right.
Honestly, like you're doing the Astrophysicist, you're doing playing music, you're writing, you're editing for other short stories, you're working with creative. I mean, like when I said Renaissance man for Gooper, it sounds like you're kind of a Renaissance man yourself. You're really just kind of what is it you cannot do? Let's talk about that. What are you not good at? Are there aspects of writing that are just trouble you, or?
I completely suck at hockey.
Okay. How often do you play hockey?
I can't play hockey. They will not let me near. I do okay with curling. Curling is all right. I understand curling.
Well, you got to sweep the ice, right?
Yeah, sweeping. Yeah, sweeping and following those rocks down. Yeah, that's curling is it.
Are these sports that you actively pursue?
Curling? No, I don't actively pursue any sports. I sample some sports. Yeah. I have a little bit of training in figure skating from a kid, so I did a little bit of that.
Really?
Yeah.
You're graceful, eh? How long did you figure skate as a child? I'm gonna ask you to do a pirouette and triple axel in a minute.
It will be a failure.
Yeah.
I remember it must have been at least 2 or 3 years. Is quite a while ago, and I was the smallest guy. So when you get a whole line of skaters and they have a circle, and somebody gets to be in the middle, and then there's the ends that go really fast.
Right.
I was the smallest skater, so I was always on the end. So
Okay.
I benefited from all this power, from all these bigger people.
The inertia, right?
The sheer speed was breathtaking.
Yeah. Just did you feel like you were gonna hurl and just lose your lunch a lot of times?
I was that has happened too. I mean, I never got the hang of spinning, but spinning is quite dangerous in that sense.
I don't know how they do it, man. It's yeah,
you mess up your inner ear, and then you're basically out to lunch for an hour.
yeah. I know. I've been able to skate. I've done inline skating and stuff like that. Ice skating's fun. So obviously,
yeah,
it's a good time.
The thing about hockey skates is they do not have the little toe on them. They don't have any brakes. I could never figure out how to brake.
Have you watched Mighty Ducks 2? There was
acceleration. Yeah.
There was another kid that had that same problem.
Yeah. How do you stop? Boom.
Just run into a wall.
Right.
If you turn I think it's like turning your feet. It's like skiing, right? You gotta.
Theoretically, I understand the theory, but I never was able to put that into practice.
Right, the practical aspect is completely lost. I want to talk more about what you do because it's something that does interest me. I'm reading a book about quantum physics right now.
Okay.
Because my last book that I wrote was called Trent Foster and the Council of 10, and the whole idea is the Council of 10 represents the 10 dimensions that are posed in superstring theory.
Mm. Oh, interesting. I mean, I read the title. I've only read the title of your book so far,
right?
And I did not understand that it was about string theory.
Well, it's about there are other dimensional beings that are physically represented, right? The dimensions are represented by these physical beings that are potentially unlimited power, but they're obviously limited by the things that make up their dimension. But it's something that interests me so much. I love the idea of dark matter and how the universe works and how it was created and the stars and the galaxies. And tell me what dark matter is. Please explain.
Yes, indeed.
Well, in my story, there's do what?
We don't know. There's two things from astrophysics that are driving the physicists crazy right now, and it's the dark energy that's expanding the universe, and it's the dark matter, which is the opposite. It's just got gravity, but nobody knows anything else about it. All they can measure is the gravity. So those two things are bothering the physicists because neither of those two things is predicted by the current model of physics. It's called the standard model with all the funny particles and quarks and stuff in it. And yeah. So dark matter is outside that.
Can I tell you what my theory is?
What is it?
I think that dark matter is love. And I also think that the universe, black holes, I think black holes are eyes into other universes. And I wrote about this. I wrote it in a poem in the book. But it's a way for looking at it, because a black hole will take in anything around it, right? Any gravity, light, all that kind of stuff. but we don't know what's on the other side of a black hole. So isn't there a theory that it's like black holes create other universes, right?
That's a theory.
So yeah, I think that black holes are like eyes that are not, they're like projectors almost. It's like, and it's also a different perspective to where like there are universes inside of us. And like honestly, like, and I think because like we'll come up with stuff in our mind, right? And we'll almost like project it out into, because we can change our perspective in our head, and then what we see in reality changes. And we see it when in writing and all kinds of different things. Like what we imagine actually changes our reality. And also with like the universe expanding, we're expanding how far we can see. So it's like moving with us, right? Because we're actually like creating the universe in a way. Tell your friends. I have no math or anything to back this up. It's all conjecture and stuff that I think about before bed. So
in the dreamlike state, absolutely. Well, look,
yeah.
Perception. I mean, the perception is a mystery, and if you're a human being and you're contemplating the universe, it's a romantic notion that you may be a part of the universe contemplating the whole universe, and that may or may not have happened ever before. And certainly the way that you comprehend the universe is unique and special compared to anybody else. The only one that understands the universe like you is you. Welcome.
Oh, that's
Welcome to the channel of profundity.
Profund. I know, it's amazing. There's another theory that talks about like how we're popped into existence like right now, and all the memories were just placed into our head. Like nothing has happened before then. It's like we hit. I can't remember what the name of the theory is, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that's like the Matrix theory or something.
Yeah, it's like we just get placed into reality. Anyway, there's so many different routes to go with that. Like that's why I love science fiction. Well, I love science fiction, but to a point where I don't necessarily put a lot of real science in there. I try. That's why I'm reading the books. But it's difficult. And so like I have to, like, I want to be able to create a science fiction world that sounds believable, but also be able to use some of my own thought processes with it.
Just go with your imagination. I mean, you know an astrophysics person now, so if you ever run into trouble,
just ask you questions. Hey, what if the universe is like just the imagination, right? It's like endless, like our imagination. Has anybody ever asked you that or said that to you? Because
yeah, and then
okay.
I have to ask, okay, whose imagination is it?
That's right. It's a collective. The collective imagination of the world, or the ones perceiving it, right? It's like it can go so many directions.
There's a serious physical principle called the anthropic principle, and that leads you to escape certain conundrums, such as why is the universe the way it is, and one answer is that, well, we exist, and so to enable human beings to exist, the universe kind of had to be tuned that way.
Right.
And so we, just because we are here in this universe now, that makes the universe have a certain structure. That's it. And people will use that. People don't really like it, but they have to use it because there's no way out sometimes. You can't reason your way into the why very well.
Well, yeah, I always hated that question when I was growing up. The kids would ask, like, well, if there's a God, who created God? And they'd be like, they'd drop their pencil. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know who created any of this stuff. I don't even know how I made it to school this morning. Are you kidding me?
That's right.
Yeah, so many cool questions, and you get to work on answering these every day.
In a tiny way, yes.
Anyway. Are there? So you have the 3 books. You have the short fiction, short stories. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Any of your other works that I could link to this interview when I post it?
There is nothing left to plug. It's all plugged. I'm gonna get volume 4 out hopefully by April. So Ace number 4 comes out in April. I hope. Cross your fingers.
Ace number 4 out in April. Awesome. And you working on that one every day, or?
Pretty much every day. Editing.
How? Editing. So the draft is finished. It's just editing now.
It's editing. So much editing.
You have a certain amount of words or whatever you put in every day, like a.
No. I love it so much that I just do it whenever I have free time.
Okay.
So I don't have any need for discipline right now as regards Ace Carroway. I might have need for discipline as regards getting my normal office job done, but Ace Carroway does itself. Even editing.
At whatever university it is you're at.
Yeah, whichever one. It's one of those.
All right. Well, we'll leave you with this. So, if you had to leave the community, the writing community, the Earth, all the universe that watches this show, with one thing, what would it be?
Keep writing.
Keep writing. Simple, elegant, tasteful. Tasteful. Keep writing.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like reach for the stars and you'll land amongst the moon or something like that. It's good. Keep writing. Very, very practical advice, guy.
Maybe be excellent to each other.
Yes. My hope for the world is that we all care for one another and we all help each other. And you're now part of a very special group of people that have been interviewed by me. They're starting a group on Twitter. It's getting ridiculous.
That is amazing and well deserved. Congratulations, Matt.
I guess. I don't know if it's well deserved, but it's something. It's cool though because you talked about a writing community, like locally. It's like the what's it called? The collective. It's that collective. I'm hoping that we can all help each other, man. That's what it's all about. I feel like, at least my purpose on Earth, I feel like is all about helping somebody else.
It's totally working. I mean, people ask questions, and then people will answer the questions, and that's just fabulous. I mean,
yeah,
it's not that complicated, but that's maybe how the hive mind works. I don't know.
We like to complicate things. That's human being. That's human beings. That's why we have so much. That's why we have so much garbage and stuff. Very complicated. Well, Guy, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate it. I had a great time talking to you.
Likewise. Take care.
Thank you, sir. And stay warm. Dry your knees off. Yeah. Stay out of that snow. Good luck with your day job.
Thank you very much. All right.
Well, all right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Yo, let me ask you a question. You like this video? Huh? Huh? You like it? Was it good? Was it good? If you did like it, please subscribe. Thanks.